Part 47. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 461. Chapter 461. My lord, Bai Ji couldn't believe that one day Jin Yuding would tell her to get lost because of a woman. Before, although Jin Yuding didn't smile at her, she never scolded him. She always thought that Jin Yuding was special to her, but now she realized that it was just because Jin Yuding took a little care of girls. He might not like her at all. After realizing this, Bai Ji felt very sad. She looked at Lin Qinruo, her eyes full of hatred. Why it was Lin Qinruo. If it hadn't been for her, everything wouldn't be what it is now. She had always imagined that she would become the Lord's woman, and that the Lord would be gentle to her. But today, because of Lin Qinruo, all of this was gone. It was shattered, all because of Lin Qinruo. She gritted her teeth without saying a word, and then left silently. Why do you let her do this to you? Why don't you resist? Jin Yuding knew that Lin Qinruo was fully capable of resisting. Lin Qinruo pursed her lips and said, "I'm sorry for you. I should have. I said, as long as I don't think you are wrong, then you are not wrong, do you understand? Jin Yuding, I came here to escape from the Emperor. I have lived under the Emperor's shackles for more than 20 years. But now, I finally escaped from the Emperor and ended up in the Demon Palace. Jin Yuding, I know I'm sorry for you, but I also know that because I'm sorry for you, I have lost my freedom for the rest of my life. Since I can't pursue what I want in this life, then why am I still alive? I didn't say I wouldn't give you freedom, or that you didn't want to stay with me. I didn't." Lin Qinruo shook his head. Are you willing to give me freedom? Letting you stay with me and giving you freedom are two different things. The man rubbed the girl's little head, and then smiled in Lin Qinruo's delighted eyes. Okay, go out, the smell here is too unpleasant and not suitable for you. By the way, I have already completed the procedures for your brother to go to school. It is a special school and he will receive special rehabilitation training there. His current IQ is 10 years old. We will try our best to improve him as soon as he is 1 year old. 1 year old, if it really doesn't work, then it's not like the Demon Palace can't afford a mouth. Jin Yuding, am I so sorry for you? Lin Qinruo lowered his head and said. She feels more and more sorry for Jin Yuding now. It doesn't matter, I have already dealt with that matter, and the Emperor did not take advantage. Really? Lin Qinruo suddenly raised his head and looked at Jin Yuding. Jin Yuding nodded. What do you think? Very good. Lin Qinruo finally smiled. Jin Yuding, I still want to say I'm sorry to you. Then, I am willing to stay in the Demon Palace and treat this place as my plus. Well, go see your brother. Okay, Lin Qinruo nodded heavily, and then the two of them turned and left. My lord, that night, Bai Ji knelt in front of Jin Yuding, her face pale. Just now, Jin Yuding had someone give her 50 steel whips. For Bai Ji, this is already the limit that she can bear. Do you know what I hate most? Cheat. No, I hate disobedient people the most. Jin Yuding looked at her and said, you are my messenger. Not only do you not listen to what I say, but you also make your own decisions. How can I trust you in the future? I'm sorry, Lord, I didn't expect this, I'm really sorry. Bai Ji now felt severe pain in her back. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 462. Chapter 462. Some things cannot be solved by just saying sorry. Bai Ji, I thought you understood. Jin Yuding looked at Bai Ji indifferently, as if this was not the messenger who had been with him for so many years. Bai Ji shuddered. She knew that she had always known that Jin Yuding was a cold and almost heartless man. Because of this, when he treated her a little bit differently, she thought it was because Jin Yuding was interested in her. Many people said that it was just because Jin Yuding took better care of girls, but she didn't believe it. But now, she couldn't help but not believe it. "Lord, have you never been interested in me?" Bai Ji said with difficulty. Jin Yuding didn't seem to expect Bai Ji to ask him this question. "What are you talking about?" "My lord, it's nothing." "I already know the answer." Bai Ji smiled bitterly. He had no feelings for her, and he never had any feelings for her. Subordinate, is willing to accept punishment. Bai Ji knelt on the ground with an expressionless face and remained motionless. The blood on her back has soaked her clothes, but she is indifferent. For Bai Ji now, her heart is dead, and there is no use for anything else. Jin Yuding looked at Bai Ji and shook his head. "You don't have to stay in the demon palace anymore, go to the branch." "Your Majesty," Bai Ji raised her head suddenly. She never imagined that the Lord would drive her away from her. The other side of the branch means that she will never come back for the rest of her life. This is the most severe punishment for them. The Lord: "I will not stay with anyone who is in danger." To Lin Qinruo: "I will keep you alive out of past friendship. So, Bai Ji, from now on, you should stay in the branch." "Lord, do you really want to be so heartless?" Lin Qinruo: "In the final analysis, she is just a traitor. Whatever I do to the person I like is up to me." Yes, Jin Yuding is a double standard, a complete double standard. However, let him attack Lin Qinruo and ask himself, he can't do it? She also couldn't bear to see others doing anything to her. That woman probably has some kind of magic power in her body, which is why she is so attractive. "My lord." Bai Ji opened her mouth, but in the end she didn't say anything. She just nodded, "I obey." On the other side, Lin Qinruo looked at a wall and drew circles. She couldn't think of the reason. She couldn't figure out why Jin Yuding didn't do anything to herself after knowing her identity. Not only that, he also sent people to protect herself and her brother. "Ms. Lin, the young master invites you to come and have dinner with us." At noon, the butler came in. Lin Qinruo blinked after class, then nodded, "Okay, I understand." She got up and followed the housekeeper as she walked forward. As she passed the road, Lin Qinruo's mind was filled with the scenes she saw that day. She had to say that she knew very well that this man seemed more terrifying than she had imagined. From beginning to end, she never saw through this man. "Master, Miss Lin has arrived." "Sit down." Jin Yuding looked at Lin Qinruo and nodded at the seat next to him. Lin Qinruo pursed her lips, then walked over and sat down obediently. "Have a meal." "Thank you." Lin Qinruo took a look at the dishes. Basically, she liked them. Jin Yuding must have sent someone to investigate her taste. Probably because he had been completely exposed, Lin Qinruo also gave up struggling and no longer had any psychological burden. She was eating obediently, but she heard Jin Yuding say, "Are you 20 this year?" "Yeah," Lin Qinruo responded. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 463. Chapter 463. Want to go to school? Jin Yuding asked suddenly. Lin Qinruo suddenly put down his chopsticks and looked at Jin Yuding. You are only 20 now and have not been to school in the past few years. Don't you want to try what it is like to go to school? It just so happened that Feng Ling was also in college, so he could definitely send Lin Qinruo to Beijing University as a transfer student. Lin Qinruo pursed her lips and said, Why are you so nice to me? There's no reason, I just did it because Zhang was so kind to you. Jin Yuding thought for a while and added, I heard that Feng Ling is also in college. You can go over and join her. Thank you. Lin Qinruo looked at Jin Yuding sincerely and said this time. This man has been so good to her since she first saw him. This time, he is willing to send her out and let her go, which is the greatest freedom for her. Jin Yuding smiled and said nothing. Fenling was a little happy when she knew that Lin Qinruo would come to class with her, because Lin Qinruo and she were the same kind of people, so their interests were similar. Come and live in our dormitory. It just so happens that there are only 3 people in our dormitory right now, Fenling said to Lin Qinruo. Lin Qinruo nodded, okay. By the way, what major do you want to study here? Fenling, I want to be an actor. Lin Qinruo said without hesitation. She wants to make her debut and let the world see her. At the same time, she also wants her parents who abandoned her to see her and see how good she is now. She wants them to regret it for the rest of their lives. Well, okay, I'll tell the old man for you. Old man, Lin Qinruo didn't answer. Fenling explained, oh, the old man is the principal. My name is Habit. Lin Qinruo. A great principal was called an old man. As expected of you, Miss Fenling. Fenling took Lin Qinruo to report. When the teacher at the registration center over there saw Lin Qinruo, he was shocked. Do the friends around Fenling have any magic power? How come one looks better than the other? You said you wanted to sign up for the acting department. Well, what's the problem, teacher? Lin Qinruo asked. The teacher immediately shook his head and said, no problem at all. If those guys in the acting department knew that such a talent was coming, they would probably die of joy. Originally, Fenling did not go to the acting department, and those old men had been lamenting for a long time. Now that Lin Qinruo has come, he can make up for the huge psychological gap between them. Come on, I'll take you to the dormitory. Teacher, Lin Qinruo and I live in the same dormitory. It just so happens that there is still an open space in our dormitory. Oh, that's fine. The teacher knew about Fenling's background. After all, when Fenling came, the principal warned them from top to bottom that they must be good to Fenling, as much as possible. How great, let others do whatever she wants to do, and absolutely cannot stop her. At first they were reluctant. This is not teaching. This is simply taking care of the prince. But after Fenling came, the attitude of all of them changed. How could they not take care of such a beautiful little girl? Of course not. Even if the principal doesn't tell you, you still need to take good care of it. Your grades are so good and you don't take the initiative to cause trouble. It's great, okay. With the consent of the registered teacher there, Fenling took Lin Qinruo to her dormitory. Chen Pingping and Ning Luoluo looked at their scores normally. The scores just came out recently. Ning Luoluo was third and Chen Pingping was second. Their scores were so good because of the syllabus given to them by Fenling. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 464. Chapter 464. God knows how they felt when they saw the test paper. They wished they could fly over and give Fenling a big hug, right? It's just that Fenling hasn't been at school much lately, and I don't know what he's been busy with. Finally, I finally saw Fenling coming back, and I didn't expect that she brought a little beauty with her. Who is this? You're so good looking. Ning Luoluo rushed to Fenling's side and asked. Her name is Lin Qinruo, a transfer student, and she will study in the performance department. You want to be an actor? Ning Luoluo's eyes lit up. I also want to work in the entertainment industry in the future. Maybe we will work together in the future. Hello, my name is Ning Luoluo. Nice to meet you. My name is Chen Pingping. Fenling and I are the same majors, and we also want to go down the path of medicine in the future. Chen Pingping said. Lin Qinruo nodded. My name is Lin Qinruo. I want to be a well-known actor in the future. She is determined to become famous all over the country. At this moment, several girls were in a room, telling each other their dreams. Immediately after the results came out, the Department of Medicine at Peking University launched an event, which was to have clinical experience and let everyone see clearly the future work status of their profession as soon as possible. If you want to change majors, you can take advantage of your freshman year. It's time to study hard and change majors. This is also a characteristic of Peking University, because many students do not know exactly what they want when they first choose a major, so Peking University provides them with an opportunity. Oh my God, my God. I don't want to go to the clinic, Ning Luoluo said with resistance written all over her face. She really has no interest in medicine at all now. You come with me, Feng Ling said. Ning Luoluo's eyes lit up. Really? The teacher said they would work together, but she didn't expect Feng Ling to be willing to take her. Feng Ling nodded, and then looked at Chen Pingping. Luoluo is not interested in medicine, so I just asked her to follow me and take a look. If possible, I suggest you work in a group, so one-on-one, it will be better for you. More will come. Chen Pingping was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Well, I understand, then I won't form a team. She originally planned to form a team and didn't think too much about it. However, Feng Ling's suggestion was obviously a good one. Thank you, Feng Ling. It doesn't matter, we are friends, Feng Ling smiled. The clinical day came soon. Everyone took the car to the medical school, and then followed the teacher and was assigned to various teaching staff. Feng Ling and Ning Luoluo were working with an instructor in the operating room. They mainly did obstetrics and gynecology. Generally speaking, they performed more cesarean sections every day. Ning Luoluo is still a little interested in this, more like gossip than interest. She is very curious about how the child came out. Hello, my name is Feng Yan, you can call me Teacher Feng. The teacher who took them was a very young and beautiful female teacher. She had only been working here for 2 years. Originally, I was not qualified to teach, but because Peking University recruited more students this year, the hospital could not allocate them, so Feng Yan was asked to teach. It was the first time to teach students, and Feng Yan seemed to be particularly nervous. Ning Luoluo was careless and said hello to Feng Yan, then set her sights on the operating room. To be honest, this was her first time entering the operating room and she was very curious about everything here. Feng Ling glanced at Feng Yan and smiled. Hello, my name is Feng Ling. Can you take us into the operating room to have a look? The first operation should not be ready at this time. Oh, okay, come with me. Feng Yan glanced at Feng Ling. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 465. Chapter 465. I feel strange in my heart. This girl seems to know the layout and daily routine of the operating room very well. Otherwise, why do you know that the first operation is not ready at this time? This is the place where items are stored in the operating room. All sterile bags and surgical instruments are obtained here. We have 3 cesarean sections this morning, so generally they will prepare 2 first. Feng Yan said. Feng Ling nodded. When you do the operation later, can we go up to the stage and take your deputy's seat? It's okay. Feng Yan was stunned for a moment. We usually let students from Peking University go on stage during clinical practice, and you can wear surgical gowns and help on the side. But don't be too nervous, I will tell you how to do it. If you don't understand, you can ask more. Feng Yan has just worked for a short time, so her personality is relatively better than some teachers with more seniority. Ning Luoluo looked at Feng Yan and asked, Teacher, will the operation be very bloody? Which operation I want to choose? Caesarean section is actually not bad. You will know when the time comes. Feng Yan said with a smile. She took the 2 people around and then went to the operating room. Over there, the hand-washing nurse had prepared things and was waiting for Feng Yan and them. Feng Yan led 2 people to the place where they wash their hands. I will teach you how to wash your hands, and then you will do it with me. Okay, Fen Ling nodded, and then gave up her seat to Ning Luoluo. After Ning Luoluo finished washing, Fen Ling went up to wash. There was no step in watching the wind and smoke, but the steps were good, even as standardized as the textbook. This is once again Fen Yan was surprised by Fen Ling. After taking the stage, Fen Ling stood in the position of deputy, and then Ning Luoluo stood beside him. Looking at. Because she was really not interested in the operation. She was just curious about how the baby came out of the mother's belly. Fen Ling, help me. During the operation, Fen Yan wanted Fen Ling to help her pull the retractor, but unexpectedly, before she finished speaking, a hand had already stretched out to help her pull it. Just when she was confused, she heard Fen Ling say, "Just do the surgery and leave the rest to me. This woman has many pregnancy complications and is at high risk." Fen Ling took a look at her vital signs and frowned. The blood pressure was a bit low. The journey was smooth until the baby came out. However, Fen Yan did not expect that just when he was about to close the abdominal cavity, an accident happened. The most frightening thing happened: massive bleeding. Fen Yan didn't even have time to dodge, and was sprayed with blood. Fen Ling took the scalpel directly in the next second and started to find the blood spots. Fen Yan stared blankly at Fen Ling's beautiful gestures, even forgetting that she was just a trainee. Let's change positions. The location here in Fen Ling is not very convenient. Fen Yan nodded, "Oh, okay." At this time, her mind was already spinning, because this was indeed the first time she had encountered this situation. So, in this case, she had no way to think about other issues. Hemostat, ligation, oval forceps. Fen Ling said unhurriedly. The atmosphere in the operating room did not seem to be very solemn for a while, because Fen Ling was finding the bleeding points one by one, and his blood pressure was also rising steadily. An hour later, Fen Ling breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's done. You can do the finishing touches." Okay, at this time, Fen Yan came back to her senses. "Are you really a student?" "I am a college student, but I know how to operate." "Your medical skills are very good, better than many people." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 466. Chapter 466. Keep it a secret for me. Fen Ling glanced at Fen Yan with a smile, then took off her gloves and stepped off the stage. After leaving the operating room, Ning Luoluo looked at Fen Ling with admiration. "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Fen Ling, you are definitely a great god, the greatest among great gods. You are so awesome." It's not bad if Fen Yan works for a few more years, he will be able to deal with it skillfully. This job relies on experience, accumulated experience over time. "Okay, it's almost time, I'll take you to dinner." "Okay," Ning Luoluo thought for a moment, then looked at Fen Ling with a smile and said, "How about we go to Jinjing Huang? She has fallen in love with the splendor now." Fen Ling raised her eyebrows and said, "Okay, I'll treat you to a meal today. Ask Chen Pingping if she can come." "Okay," Ning Luoluo called Chen Pingping excitedly. Soon, the three girls gathered at the splendid door. "Pingping, how are you today? Do you think it's cool?" Ning Luoluo was very excited today, so when she saw Chen Pingping, she directly asked her how she felt. Fen Ling said she wanted to keep it a secret, so Ning Luoluo couldn't tell Chen Pingping how powerful Fen Ling was today, so she could only focus on Chen Pingping. Chen Pingping nodded, "I did learn a lot, but Lingling, I think it's really difficult to become a doctor. It's very difficult to do anything well, very, very difficult, so, Pingping, if you want to go on this road, you must put in 100% effort." I will, Chen Pingping nodded vigorously. She wants to become a very, very good doctor so that in the future, she can save the lives of many people and take care of her family. After several people finished eating, they followed the school bus back to the dormitory. In the afternoon, there was nothing to do, so Fen Ling was ready to go out. Today I made an appointment to go racing. It's L is here. At the racing track, everyone's eyes changed after seeing Fen Ling. Who is L? Wang Jiren is a popular racing player recently. He has never lost a game recently, so he is arrogant. He has never heard of L, so everyone compliments him after seeing Fen Ling. Going up, he felt a little unconvinced. You don't even know L, she is the person who killed Luo Ben 3 years ago. She is very mysterious. She wears a mask every time she comes here, and no one knows what she looks like. Kill Luo Ben instantly, haha, Wang Jiren sneered, Luo Ben lost to me some time ago. This L looks small, and it definitely doesn't look like someone who knows how to drive. However, for the sake of so many people praising her, he gave her some face. Are you L? Wang Jiren walked up and asked. He held his head high, for fear that others would not know that he was now arrogant. Fen Ling glanced at him. What? I order you to compete with me. Refuse. Fen Ling looked at Wang Jiren like a fool. When did this person come out? Let her waste time comparing with him. Want to peach? Why are you so ungrateful? Wang Jiren frowned. His recent reputation was so great that no one could refuse him. Fen Ling is the first. How could he be convinced? Why should I promise you? I am Wang Jiren. I didn't hear that. Fen Ling was a little irritated and was about to turn around and go to the competition. There were still 10 minutes left before the time agreed with them. Stop. Wang Jiren ran to Fen Ling and blocked her path again. This time, Fen Ling was really angry. Don't mess with me. Compare with me, otherwise, you won't want to go anywhere today. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 467. Chapter 467. Wang Jiren is now arrogant and feels that Fen Ling will definitely agree to him. However, what he never expected is that Fen Ling hates others threatening her the most, like now. You know I usually don't show mercy to people I hate. Fen Ling smiled coldly. The next second, Wang Jiren felt his hand being grabbed. He wanted to run away, but found that he couldn't move at all. And then, he felt that his whole body was turned over and fell heavily to the ground, and he fell like a dog. Wang Jiren's eyes were filled with pain, but he found Fen Ling walking directly towards the distance. Brother Wang, you're okay? After Fen Ling walked away, several of Wang Jiren's followers dared to help Wang Jiren up. Don't blame them, it's true that Fen Ling, the everyday wife, is too powerful, and there is no way they can get close to her. I'm fine. Wang Jiren swept away the dust on his body, and then looked at Fen Ling fiercely. Damn woman, she doesn't give me face like this, she's just a woman, how much weight do she really think she has? That's right, she's just a woman, she can't be compared with our brother Wang. Wait a minute, brother will go to the arena soon and crush her completely. Wang Jiren glanced at his little follower and said, take my racing car and follow me. He wanted to see if Fen Ling could make it to the runway today. If she did, he would definitely compete with her. I'm here. Over there. Fen Ling arrived. Then he opened his racing car and got in. Hey, you look good today. Yes, it seems that my life is very happy recently. Several people looked at Fen Ling teasingly. To be honest, several people know Fen Ling's true identity and also know very well what happened between Fen Ling and Ye Qinghan. Fen Ling and Ye Qinghan live happily, which is the best smile for them. After all, Fen Ling was a godlike existence in their eyes. Fen Ling curled her lips. Thank you, let's get started. Wait, suddenly, a car broke into their path. L, I must compete with you today, don't say you don't dare. Who is he? He's a idiot. Fen Ling glanced at Wang Juren irritably. Get out. I don't. Unless you compare with me, why don't you dare? I know that women are greedy for life and afraid of death. I can compete with you, as long as you can bear it. After hearing what Wang Juren said, Fen Ling suddenly felt a hint of anger in his eyes. Now, where do so many straight male cancers come from? Several people looked at each other and said, let's leave first and come back to you later. Ye Fen Ling nodded, then looked at Wang Juren with a cold look. Let's get started. You guys say start, Wang Juren said to his younger brother. Then he looked at Fen Ling proudly, wondering what happened if he refused. No matter how much he refused, in the end he would not compete with him. However, after the game started, Wang Juren began to feel that something was wrong, because no matter how hard he tried, Fen Ling always maintained a parallel line with himself. In other words, Fen Ling followed him unhurriedly and with ease from beginning to end. You know, what I hate most is straight male cancer. I'm glad that you are jumping around happily in my minefield. It seems that the lesson just learned is not enough. He. Fen Ling looked at him with a hint of creepy danger. Wang Juren looked at Fen Ling, and a bad feeling began to rise in his heart. Immediately afterwards, he felt that Fen Ling was using his racing car to collide with his. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 468. Chapter 468. You are crazy, L. Wang Juren looked at Fen Ling in horror, as if she was doing something terrible. Fen Ling curled her lips and said, I told you never to underestimate a woman. Believe it or not, your car is ruined, but mine is still intact. After hearing what Fen Ling said, Wang Juren subconsciously turned his attention to Fen Ling's car. Only then did he realize that Fen Ling's car was actually made of limited edition materials. That kind of material could not be damaged by ordinary racing cars. In other words, as long as Fen Ling is willing, she will be in the king's class on the field. No one can cause harm to her unless Fen Ling makes a technical mistake. As for her skills, Wang Juren could feel it almost from the opening scene. Fen Ling's skills were simply incomparable to him. This woman is like a monster, very scary. Wang Juren's two little followers also noticed something was wrong. What's going on with your friend? Why do you have to go against our brother Wang? This is not a competition, make her stop. The two of them glanced at the two young followers and shook their heads. I told you a long time ago that Wang Juren should not compete with Fen Ling, but he just didn't listen. If he didn't listen, he'll off. Who is this weird to talk about? I can only say that I wish myself well even if we are her friends. We don't dare to talk nonsense about this kind of thing. You brother Wang is really good. He stepped on L's minefield just after he came here. Who will be beaten if he is not beaten? While a few people were talking, Wang Juren's racing car flew very far, and then heard a roar. He flew directly out of the arena. Everyone took a deep breath, and then looked at Fen Ling, who was returning home after a good time. What just happened was so sudden that almost no one could see clearly what happened. Wang Juren probably didn't understand it himself. Fen Ling just moved the steering wheel slightly and actually did so much damage to him. This was simply not possible. It was impossible, but in fact, Fen Ling really succeeded in doing so. How is this possible? Wang Juren looked at all this with his mouth open. The head was bleeding, so the two attendants called the hospital directly and sent Wang Juren to the hospital. Even on the way to the hospital, Wang Juren thought about that. It was really terrible. Is she a book? Fen Ling, are you still playing today? No more fun. The car has been parked for me. Come back after a while. I may be a little busy recently and it's inconvenient to show up. Okay. When Fen Ling returned to the dormitory, she saw Lin Qinruo. She seemed to be in a daze and did not notice her coming in. Fen Ling swayed in front of her. What are you thinking about? You want to be so serious? Lin Qinruo was stunned for a moment, then raised her head to find Feng Ling. She thought for a while and said, Feng Ling, can I talk to you? Feng Ling raised her eyebrows, okay, you say. Two people walked to a small forest where there was no one. Lin Qinruo told Feng Ling what happened between her and Jin Yuding. Actually, I have always been very sorry for Jin Yuding. I don't know what mentality I should use to face him. I know that he is not a kind person. Because of this, so his attitude towards me now makes me feel a little scared. Does he like you? Or do you like him a little bit too? Feng Ling smiled, otherwise, with your and his personalities, you shouldn't be that caring about other people's moods. I seem to like him a little bit, but I feel like I'm not good enough for him. I even stole his things. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 469. Chapter 469. Qinruo, not everything in this world is black and white. If it were me, I would choose this way, because for you at that time, your feelings for Jin Yuding were not that deep, but your brother was something you absolutely could not lose. Feng Ling pursed her lips and said, Qinruo, if you really feel sorry for Jin Yuding, then you must work hard and strengthen yourself. When you are so strong that everyone is afraid of you, then you will have the ability to make up for your mistakes. However, don't bring these things into your relationship, because Jin Yuding doesn't mind. If you mind, you too will be under a lot of pressure. So, my suggestion is, don't put pressure on each other. If you like it, go for it. Love, as for what happened before, let's make up for it later. Lin Qinruo nodded, thank you, Feng Ling, I seem to know what I should do. You're welcome. Feng Ling smiled, then patted her shoulder, now you should have something to say to Jin Yuding, so I won't disturb you. Remember to come back early. Good. After Lin Qinruo waited for Feng Ling to leave, he sent a text message to Jin Yuding, I want to talk to you. Almost a second later, Lin Qinruo received a call from Jin Yuding, aren't you busy today? Otherwise, why did he call just after she sent it? This is not very scientific. It happens that I'm not too busy. Jin Yuding looked at the pile of documents in front of him and started talking nonsense. Lin Qinruo believed it. She pursed her lips and said, Jin Yuding, did you know about it when I got your information? What's wrong? Jin Yuding didn't know why she asked. Lin Qinruo said, really? Yes. However, this is my own wish, so you don't have to put too much psychological pressure. Why? Lin Qinruo asked, I shouldn't be special to you, why do I do this? That thing should be very important to you. No matter how important it is, it can't be compared to a human life, Jin Yuding replied. Lin Qinruo was surprised, so, you knew that the emperor threatened me with my brother, and you knew it from the beginning, right? At this time, Lin Qinruo realized how powerful Jin Yuding's ability was. Almost every move she made was under Jin Yuding's control, so when she came, as if he knew what Lin Qinruo was thinking, Jin Yuding said directly, when you came here, I was just suspicious, but there was no evidence. Moreover, I didn't hate having you by my side, so I didn't investigate in depth. I investigated you after you took my things. Lin Qinruo. After a long time, Lin Qinruo said in a hoarse voice, you haven't told me yet, why? Why did you let me go like this? Why did you give me a chance to save my brother? I said, I don't hate you, and your brother is a human life. Really? Lin Qinruo smiled, okay, I believe it. Jin Yuding, a big demon whose life is like dirt, actually said he cared about her brother's life. The only explanation may be that he cares about her, so he also cares about her brother. She seemed to be protected by someone without even realizing it. Perhaps Jin Yuding, like her, cannot clearly confirm his feelings for the other person, but this ambiguous relationship feels really good. Lin Qinruo looked at the moon in the sky and said, Jin Yuding, the moon is so round tonight. Well, I'm 15. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 470. Chapter 470. Jin Yuding put down what he was doing, looked at the sky and said, 15 years old, but the little girl is still in school and he has not been able to meet her yet. Jin Yuding sighed slightly, quietly so that Lin Qinruo did not hear him. It's getting late, go to bed. Yeah, Lin Qinruo nodded and looked at the time. It was indeed getting late. Usually at this time, she would have fallen asleep. The next day, something happened at Beijing University. During their physical education class, a student accidentally fell on a broken bamboo, and the entire bamboo was inserted into the child's body. Everyone was stunned on the spot. What should I do? Lingling, you have a solution, right? Ning Luo looked at Feng Ling subconsciously, hoping that Feng Ling would have a solution. Chen Pingping didn't know what happened that day, so she shook her head. Luo, you can only send her to the hospital for this kind of thing. How could Ling Ling be able to do anything about it? Sister is just a student who has just entered the school. Although she usually likes to talk big, she really can't do this kind of thing. It's better not to show off. It just so happened that they were in the same class as Feng Shuang. Hearing Ning Luoluo's words, he wanted to step on Feng Ling. Feng Ling glanced at Feng Shuang and was too lazy to talk to her. She looked directly at the teacher and said, call 120. The hospital is right next to it. 120 should be quick. The facilities above are relatively complete, so it is best not to move her now. The girl was lying on the ground, unconscious due to pain. Yeah, the teacher nodded and dialed 120. Feng Ling stepped forward and took out a roll of gauze. It was in her space, so she took it out quietly in her pocket. No one has time to think about why Feng Ling has gauze. They are all focused on the girl. Seeing Feng Ling approaching the girl, Feng Shuang grabbed Feng Ling directly. Sister, what are you going to do? Hold her and let me go. A long section of the bamboo is now outside and is very unstable. It may touch her aorta at any time. Once it touches, she will never be able to save it. Sister, you are not a professional, don't act blindly. Didn't the teacher say that this kind of situation can only be left to professionals? Feng Shuang frowned and sounded mature. Everyone agreed after hearing what Feng Shuang said. Yeah, don't touch her. What if something happens? You don't know how to heal, why don't you act blindly? Let's wait until the teacher comes, no one should move now. I may not understand, but she will definitely die. Feng Ling looked at the bamboo and said. Everyone frowned, not believing what Feng Ling said. We don't know whether she will die, but if you move without knowing anything, you will definitely hurt her. In short, sister, you'd better not move. In the past, I could let you do anything, but now, I can't because I'm a future medical professional. Ha, Feng Ling sneered, you'd better not mess with me. Feng Shuang, you know it yourself, my temper is not very good, and it's very bad, so it's best not to use your mouth again. Hey, you know, I hate this the most. Feng Ling looked at Feng Shuang coldly, her eyes so cold that Feng Shuang felt like she was about to be frozen. You. Okay, don't say anything, the ambulance will be here soon. Classmates Feng Ling and Feng Shuang are right, you'd better not. Before the physical education teacher finished speaking, he saw the bamboo stick falling down and breaking part of the girl's body. It seemed to have hit some major artery, and red liquid spurted out instantly. End of this chapter.